Hi, it's Kevin Bates here. I was reading up more about the Facebook Libra and also about things like Bristol Lets and I think something called Minnesota Dollars, if I remember correctly. Might have been a different US state, where different groups not connected with governments launch their own currencies in order to allow people to pay each other for goods and services. And it started me thinking, what happens if Facebook's coin does take off and it becomes the global de facto standard for trading stuff? We're already seeing sports stars asking to be paid in Bitcoin rather than in dollars, for example, and it's happening. And some of the states are now willing to accept tax payments in cryptocurrency rather than in dollars. So the difference between Bitcoin and Libra is that Bitcoin is meant to be a stable coin. It's going to be backed by fiat currencies, so it's not meant to be a speculation instrument, whereas Bitcoin has a market-determined price, mainly at the moment based on speculation as to how much it's going to be worth in the end. And Bitcoin does seem to be setting itself up to become the digital gold, and one way of looking at Libra is seeing it as becoming the digital sort of global dollar. So what happens to all these currencies that are held in the reserve as Libra gets bigger and bigger? Now, I don't know the answer to this because I'm not an economist, and what's more, when I went and looked online, I couldn't find any really good articles explaining what happens, or maybe the reason why they're not there is because it has not happened, but I couldn't even see any hypotheses of what would happen if slowly over time more and more of us do more and more of our transactions with Libra, until eventually the fiat currencies that are supposed to be backing it are actually lesser than this digital currency. So I'm sort of thinking here of a world in which slowly various national currencies of smaller countries with troubled economies just effectively disappear, because now everybody's using Libra. Why would they use the currency of their local country? And of course the governments would then try and make that illegal, but it's going to be very, very hard to enforce. And then slowly some of the bigger ones start to tumble, so the pound, and then the yen, and possibly the euro, and so on, until eventually the basket that is supposedly providing the stability to the currency is actually less stable than the currency itself. Excuse me. A lot of bugs in the air here. So what happens then? Firstly, is this the plan? Is there some kind of long-term plan on the roadmap of Libra? And secondly, if there isn't, why isn't there? And thirdly, does anybody know where it could end up? I mean, is it possible that eventually all currencies will disappear and there will be one global digital currency? Now, I don't know the answers to this. As I said, I'm primarily a technologist. I know that it's technically possible to have a global digital currency, and from a technical point of view it makes perfect sense. It's much more efficient than having large numbers of confusing currencies where you get ripped off if you go to Budapest, for example, and have to pay for your taxi in forints, and you have no idea whether 10,000 of them is 10 euros or 100 euros, and I'm talking from personal example here. So anyway, any of you out there with a reasonable amount of economic knowledge, please do comment below. Let me know, is it possible that Libra could replace all other currencies, and exactly what process happens when that does occur? Look forward to some interesting answers, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.